The Minnesota Vikings, next up on our NFC North talk here. Their big three is headlined by Lewis Cine with their first round pick, Andrew Booth, and Ed Ingram. They traded back a few times in this draft and finally landed on Lewis Cine with a 32nd overall pick. And then take Andrew Booth, who, I mean, guys, let's be honest here. A lot of mocks had Andrew Booth some mocks had Andrew Booth to the Minnesota Vikings, where they were originally slotted in the first round, and they end up getting him in the set early on in the second round. How good was this Vikings draft, at least at the top here, AJ?
I mean, I think they did a good job. They definitely attacked some needs. We talked about them last season, mostly through laughter. But it was the biggest need was their secondary. And that defense had a good linebacking core and some pieces up front. They needed some help in the secondary, and they addressed it right off rip. Lewis Cine from Georgia, another one of the talented prospects on one of the best defenses in the college football last season. I think he's going to come right in and help them from day one. So that's a good start. And then you go and get Andrew Booth, who you and I don't have the highest grade on, but now you're putting him next to Patrick Peterson, who is a solid veteran, one of the best cornerbacks the NFL has seen in a long time. He gets to mentor him, maybe bring him along to that talent that everyone sees, and then he can get the mentality to go with it. So I like what they did with their first two picks. I'm a big fan of the guard in Ed Ingram. I think they definitely still need some help up front, especially in that run game to keep Dalvin Cook from getting hurt every single year. So Ed Ingram can come in. He may not be a day one guy because he still needs a lot of help in pass protection. But if you start him on that line at guard and you say, I need you to make sure that when we run that ball, that hole is open for everybody, he's going to be able to do it. This is a guy who spent 5 years at LSU, which means he has seen every level of top competition. He was on one of the greatest teams in college football with LSU. He's also on one of the worst teams in college football at LSU. So he's been around. He's a veteran. He's mentally tough. He's physically tough. And their first three picks, I think they did a good job.
Yeah, for me, this was starting at the top. It was Lewis Cine. You're talking about a guy who basically clinched the national championship game with the interception against Alabama. He's 6'2", runs a 4.3. We lamented the back end of that Minnesota defense was bad. We know they have a future Hall of Famer in Patrick Peterson. They brought him back, which was good. It'll allow the Andrew Booths of the world to have that veteran presence there. But for me, it started with Lewis Cine. I think he is going to be a game-changing type of safety. You're talking about a Harrison Smith who's been really, really good in the NFL for a long time. He can mentor him as well. And the fact that you're getting a playmaker. So I thought that to me was the biggest pick here with Minnesota. And then you talked about Andrew Booth. This is a first-round talent who dropped because he had sports hernia surgery. He's probably going in the top 20 picks if he doesn't have those injury concerns, despite if you guys feel that a Mario Goodrich is going to be better than him or not. We all know that's not projected to be the case, as Mario Goodrich was undrafted and this guy was drafted in the second round, even with the injury concerns. So we saw other guys with injury concerns like a Nakobe Dean who fell. He did not fall too far. And again, it's because defensive back in the NFL is needed. And Minnesota really needed a lot of them. He's a guy that's 6 feet tall. He has the build for the position, super athletic and ball skills that are really unmatched. He's really good long arm athlete, plays well in press coverage. He is going to have an impact on the defense that really, really needed help on the back end. And I think that's why Minnesota received such a high grade for me, is because they did address these needs. They addressed positions that they had to address. Offensive line in Ed Ingram, a guy that Vinny liked in Brian Asamoah at the linebacker position, who could come in and fill that like athletic role as like a nickel down, a nickel back or a nickel down linebacker when they're in third and longs and things like that. Cause you have an Eric Kendricks there, you have a Jordan Hicks there who are veterans, but maybe aren't as rangy as a Brian Asamoah. So once he kind of gets up to speed, he can come in and fill those nickel down situations. Minnesota had a good draft overall. They really did.
You stole it right from me. What I wanted to ask and talk about how does Brian Asamoah fit in this defense? Because they went out and got us Darius Smith. They already have a solid linebacker group already there. You take Brian Asamoah with the third pick or the 66 pick in the third round. Where does he fit in here? Like, so what should Vikings fans expect here? Because I think he's a great player. He can be. I said he can come. He was one of my guys during the draft process, saying that he can come in and be a day one starter. Where does he now fit in for this Vikings defense?
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned it there. He's going to be that third down nickel back guy that can cover tight ends, that can get sideline to sideline. Runs about a 4.5, so he's not super fast, but he plays a little bit faster. He has a quick trigger. He can get downhill, good movement. He can fly. So getting from sideline to sideline, he's really, really good in coverage. I think he can handle deeper coverages where some of these bigger guys like a Hendricks can't do it, or a Kendricks can't do it. I don't think he's the most gifted linebacker that you're going to see in this draft. He's kind of undersized, but that's where he fits in, is that kind of nickel down situations where he can go out and maybe guard some tight ends, go chase backs out of the backfield. And you might even find him on a slot receiver when you're running some cover 2 shell or some man press with zoning up the middle. So he's not super physical, but I think his speed and his ability to get sideline to sideline will help in those third down situations to get Minnesota's defense off the field.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, I was waiting for you to.
No, you said I can speak a little to end the draft. That's what he said. That's what your words were.
Jesus. I think my take was so good it left you speechless. Let's just leave it at that. That was too funny. Okay, go ahead, AJ. Go ahead, AJ.
So as I was looking, I was listening to your wonderful take there. It was great. Lots of great little nuggets there, some news and nugs for everybody. When you look a little bit further what the Vikings were able to do too, their back half of the draft, they really did get some decent value picks. Like, while we didn't grade them pretty high, I mean, they're places of need for depth. Like, I look at a guy like Vidarian Lowe that they got out of Illinois, a 5-year starter, a type of guy who's been around and has the depth, or not the depth, I'm sorry, has the mentality, has the experience to come in and kind of know what's expected of him. Then you go down to Jalen Naylor. We can talk all day about their receivers. Obviously Justin Jefferson's that guy. Adam Thielen's that guy. They found something in, what's his name? Cannot remember the third one.
KJ Osborne.
Dylan loves the guy.
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne, yeah. But you get a Jalen Naylor who, he's had some injury concerns, but he's 5'11", breakaway speed, can cause separation, and that's just another weapon. And then you go, you let go of all your other tight ends. Irv Smith is coming back from injury, so you go and get a guy in Nick Muse, who is more of a blocker. So if he doesn't even pan out as a receiver, you're not losing anything when Irv Smith stands healthy. It's just another guy that you can put up to that depth piece of blocking. So they filled it out really nicely with a lot of high reward, low risk picks in those last couple selections there. So I just thought that was a nice piece and a nice rounding out to the Vikings draft.
Yep. But was it enough? Let's take an overall look here at the NFC North final GPAs. And you have Green Bay at 3.49 as the second best, though, behind the Detroit Lions at 3.54. The worst, of course, being the Chicago Bears, unfortunately for Bears fans, at 2.72. And the Minnesota Vikings coming in at 3.19. Thoughts on those overall GPAs, gentlemen? AJ?
Just interested in the direction you decided to go with.
I was like, okay, well, like I brought up the Packers at 3.49, but it was the second best behind the Detroit Lions, and I was like, the worst though. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Look, I don't know. We're gonna run into a situation here in the next year or so where I'm either gonna be on here celebrating my win. For saying that Justin Fields is not going to be a good NFL quarterback. And the sad part is it's probably not even going to be his fault. But, this is what I said it, it had to do with Ohio State and all that. You look at him, you see flashes, but there's a chance that 2 years from now, we're like, hey, the Bears are looking for a new quarterback because Justin Fields can't get it done. And we're going to say he's a bust. Everybody's going to say, oh, he didn't live up to the hype. And it's probably not going to be his fault. Which is a lot for me saying, because I never thought that he was going to be that good in the first place and all that. But I can't blame him right now. What they're doing in Chicago is just not helping him. Hopefully Eberflus gets it done, but it doesn't look promising right now. Darnell Mooney's your best receiver. No knock against him, but that's not a number one.
Nope. Poor Chicago Bears. But the rest of that, the Detroit Lions, I feel like this is a trend with all of our final GPAs. It's these historically bad teams now just moving in the right directions with 2 straight years of good drafting. You got the Jets, you got the Lions, you got the Jaguars, these teams now just 2 good years in a row with these drafts, now going to start pushing themselves into the race, maybe not all the way at the top, but really fighting and getting their names out there and moving up. And then there's the Vikings, and well, yeah,
Creepy as hell.
that laugh has taken a dramatic turn, like a drastic, just into a different.
I'm looking around for Pennywise, bro.
The NFC Championship game, Minnesota Vikings from 2021.
Oof! And if you don't get that joke, go back and watch. Well,
nope.
Good luck finding it. Good luck finding it. It's from an old brand, but hey,
it's still on Facebook
funny.
though. It's still
on
there.
Facebook.
It's still there.
Hey, you have to scroll through all of our Sac City content to find it, which would be nice. You could like, follow, share, click all that stuff too. Right there at the Sac City Pod, you can find it. If you scroll far enough, you might find some RCOD stuff, and you might understand where that laugh came from. And go buy a t-shirt while you're at it, while Vinny's throwing up the graphics. Buy a t-shirt, support the brand, because we doing it big, baby.